Welcome to the Empowered with Erika podcast. My name is Erika FB, and I'm an empowerment coach, mindset mentor, personal development enthusiast, and holistic health advocate. I've spent the last several years healing my mind, body, and soul, and have learned so much along the way. From healing trauma to navigating a sober lifestyle and learning how to step into my personal power, it has been transformational. If you are looking to heal, to be inspired, to uplevel your life, and become the most empowered version of yourself, you've come to the right place. I created this podcast to help you know you are worthy of rewriting your story and to help you navigate your own empowerment journey. You are worthy of living your most authentic, aligned, and inspired life, and I can help you get there. Whether you are diving deep into personal development or just need a weekly pick-me-up, I've got you covered. Thank you so much for pressing play today. I cannot wait to transform together. Let's get empowered. Welcome to the Empowered with Erika podcast. Your host Erika here, and I'm really excited for today's episode. So you've heard me talk about it in the past, I believe, but the book, The Power of One More by Ed Mylett is inspiring this episode. One of the chapters, the chapter of One More Higher Standard. This book has changed my life. It's incredible. I'm probably going to have a lot of podcast episodes based on things I learned in this book. But what we're talking about in this episode is all about the difference between goals and standards. If you have a goal you want to meet, how are you going to reach it? How are you going to hit that goal? So here's the thing. You may not always hit your goals, but you will always fucking hit your standards. And that's something Ed talks about in this book. And so what he says is if you want the best possible chance of reaching your goals, you need to adjust your standards. And reaching your goals will almost become automatic. That's a quote from his book, right? So when you decide you want to achieve your goals, you need to create standards as means of taking those thoughts and applying actions to them. So essentially, you have a goal. The standard is taking that action step. So we talk about this a lot in like the manifestation world, how if you want to manifest something, if you have a goal of achieving something, you need to, one, take action, right? You need to take action for your manifestations to come to reality. You can't just sit and think and twiddle your fucking thumbs and $1 million show up in your bank account. No, you're going to have to take actions to create that $1 million, right? You're going to have to create a set of standards to help achieve that. If you want to manifest something, they talk a lot about how you need to embody the highest version of yourself, how you need to embody the person that has already achieved that goal or has already, say it's, I want to be X weight. Well, you need to embody the person that weighs that much, or I want to be a millionaire. You need to embody being a millionaire. You need to act like you already are before you have it. It's very powerful, and they say often that can be a sign to the universe that you believe you're worthy of it, and I think that is one part of it. But what I love about this chapter is, in my mind, it really is connecting those dots. So when you have a set of standards for your life, you are really saying to the universe, hey, I fucking want this. Hey, this is my goal, and I'm not going to settle less for it. And so I think having standards is extremely powerful. And I have a whole episode called How to Set the Standard for Your Life. And I love that. But right now, I believe it's in the first 5. I'd have to look it up. I'll put it in the show notes. Go check out my episode that's How to Set the Standard for Your Life. It's one of my first episodes of the podcast. But what we talk a lot about in this chapter and that we're going to talk about today is the difference between goals and standards and how you can use standards to reach your goals. Okay? So they are two sides of the same fucking coin, right? So what are you willing to tolerate? Basically, what you're willing to tolerate is what you will get. So that's how standards are so important. If you're willing to tolerate something, that's what you're going to get. And if you don't change your standards, basically your goals are irrelevant. So there's so many avenues we could go with this. So let's just use dating for an example. Say you're someone that's like, I really want a healthy, happy, loving relationship. Okay, awesome. So did I. That's why I'm so thankful I'm in the relationship I'm in now. He's awesome. It's great. You know, we're not perfect because who is? But at the end of the day, I'm very happy. And why am I? Because I had really high fucking standards when I was dating. I had really high standards. I did not tolerate bullshit. And Kyle rose to those standards. He met those standards. And that's why we are now together. And I met his standards. He also was having very high standards, right? And so what you tolerate is going to affect your outcome, right? So your standards will affect your outcome. So if you're looking for a healthy, happy relationship, yet when a guy, doesn't text you back for days at a time or only texts you at 1 a.m. and is like, oh, are you up? That's probably not going to get you that healthy, fulfilling relationship. Now, with someone that Now, if someone wants to spend time with you, wants to get to know you as a person, listens to what you say and actually interacts, remembers, like, gives a fuck about you, great. You need to set some standards. So I had certain standards. So one of my standards was, if someone can't tolerate the fact that I don't drink, or if they're going to push me to drink, or if they're only going to want to hang out at bars, it ain't going to work for me. And I'm not dissing anyone that does, but that's not my lifestyle. And I don't want a relationship that has so much, like, drinking as such a big part of it. That's not for me, and that's for friendships as well. And I'm not dissing that, but that's just not the type of people I want in my life anymore. It's not how I roll. And I'm not, like, looking down on anyone, but it's not my lifestyle. It's not, especially for me with my past, my history. You know, I've have 2 whole episodes on my sobriety now, guys, so take a listen to those. I think they're 3 and 19. So those are 3 and 20, something like that. I'll put them in the show notes as well. But that would not work. When I was working through my sobriety, I had to create new standards for my life. When I was looking for a new relationship, I had to create standards for my life. If you are wanting the best career possible, you have to create standards for your life. And so what an applicable way for this, for me, like, such an obvious example of this in my life, where I was like, oh shit, like, when I was reading this, I was like, oh my God, like, that's incredible. Like, I totally see this connection now, was the 75 hard. So think about the 75 hard. I have a whole episode about the 75 hard. Love it. I'll link that in the show notes as well if you want to learn more about it. I recommend everyone does the program at least once. Okay, I had tried again in this past year and then got really sick, and so I stopped. I'm thinking about doing it again when I get back from vacation, but we'll see. But anywho, what I loved about the 75 hard is essentially what it is, guys. If you boil it down, it is creating new standards for your life. No, I am going to read 10 pages of a book a day. No, I am going to have 2 45-minute workouts a day. No, I am going to drink a gallon of water a day. No, I am going to read personal development every single fucking day. So yeah, you know what? I was feeling my best and becoming one of the best versions of myself when I was doing the 75 hard. Wonder why? Because I had high fucking standards. Not everyone is willing to do those things every single day. I still do a lot of them, but I don't do all of them every day. Or I give myself grace. And I do think that giving yourself grace is important. But no wonder I was in the best shape of my fucking life. I had high standards. I wasn't eating shit. I was feeling my body. I was being very intentional with my time. I was really giving a fuck. I had raised my standards. And this is something else he talks about in this book, and I don't remember if it's in this chapter, but it's talking about, like, turning up the dial, turning up the temperature of your life. If you're someone that, let's just say you want to lose 20 pounds, and let's say that's healthy for you, okay? We're not talking eating disorders. We're not talking unhealthy weight. Say that you want to lose 20 pounds and it's a healthy goal for you. Okay, you need to turn up the temperature of your life, and you need to embody the person that is 20 pounds lighter. So what are you going to do? Well, one, you're probably going to limit or decrease or completely cut out, like, fast food. You're probably going to make more food at home. You're probably going to eat less processed food, less sugar, or less, like, unnatural sugar. I do think fruit is fine. Personally, fight me on it. You're probably going to eat more fruits and veggies. You're probably going to eat more lean produce, right? Again, less carbs. You're going to turn up the temperatures of your workout. You're going to make sure that you're working out regularly, that you're active, that you're drinking your water, that you're being intentional, that you're not out drinking all night long. You know what I mean? Like, you are going to turn up the temperature of your life. You're going to get your rest. You're going to do all the things that you need to do for yourself to embody that person. So I think these are all intertwined, right? And also, something he says in the book is, if you don't establish what your standards are and clearly define them, other people will act to undermine them simply because they aren't clear about what is acceptable to you and what is not. So I also talk about boundaries a lot. You guys know boundaries are my second love language. Like, I fucking love a good boundary. But is it really a boundary, or is it just me setting a standard for my life and you aren't meeting it, so now boundary is up? Don't you see how these are all intertwined? How important having standards for your life is? It's incredibly important because, again, if you don't establish those standards, people will cross your lines and cross your boundaries. So you need to have a standard for your life. You need to have a standard for your interactions with others, your interactions with yourself, with all these different areas, okay? And you must never tolerate treatment that's less of what you're worthy of. So honestly, setting standards to reach your goals is an act of self-love. right? So make sure that your standards are consistent with your self-worth. That's incredibly important. So the greatest companies and the greatest sports teams have high fucking standards for themselves. Okay? It's so incredibly important. Sorry, I'm just like looking at the book really quick. But to activate the changes meant for you, there must be a conscious decision to take only what you think is valuable and apply it in a thoughtful way to create your unique standards. So everyone has different standards. And that's where the 75 hard may not work for some people, but it works for a lot of people. And maybe you don't do it forever. Maybe you don't live the 75 hard lifestyle for the rest of your life. But if it teaches you how to raise your standards for yourself and make a commitment to yourself and stay dedicated to that commitment to yourself, you know, I call that a fucking win. I don't know about you, but I call that a win, right? So you want to make sure that you are activating your higher standards. What are the higher standards that you want? Perhaps that you want to make, let's say this is an example he uses in the book. Perhaps you're in a job that has paid you $75,000 a year. And you're like, okay, but I've been making that same amount for the past 5 years. I want to make more money. I deserve more. I've increased my skill set. I've worked really hard. So I have this goal of $100,000 a year. Okay, so how will you get there? And standards are the specific set of actions you must take to achieve your goal. And standards are the most valuable when they're precise. So maybe you're in sales. Maybe it's I need to talk to 20 clients a week or 20 more clients a week. I need to increase more. Maybe, okay, I want this podcast to grow. Maybe I need to post 2 episodes a week versus 1. I don't know. It's just a thought. I'm not saying I need to, but maybe I do, right? Or maybe I need to post it on more platforms, or maybe I need to do more interviews, or maybe I need to do more book reviews, right? So when you set the right standards that match your goals, your life becomes less stressful, okay? So your goals, they're important, but they're secondary to your standards. And in all parts of your life, when it comes to goals and standards, they have to be aligned to find harmony. That harmony is going to breed success. So if you have a goal and your standards are maybe like they're good standards, but they're not going to help you reach that goal, like there's going to be disharmony, there's going to be non-alignment. So in actually the episode that you're going to hear before this episode, it should be episode, 22. So episode from last week, that episode is all about making a U-turn in your career. So if you are setting standards for your life and you're realizing that, oh shoot, like I'm not in the place I need to be, I talk a lot about in that episode about like realigning or creating new standards to go into your dream career and how to do that. And that was based on another book I read that was incredible, right? So there are 9 ways to set higher standards, and I'm going to go through them with you really quick. Okay, so setting clear and defined higher standards is personal and it's unique to you, but there are some principles. So first is understanding your why. Okay, we talk about this a lot in like the personal development space. Why are you creating that new standard? Okay, so I actually, when I went through this, it was so funny. I had a goal for myself. I've been wanting to get a little healthier, drop a couple pounds. And through this chapter and then another chapter in this book, I was like, shit, Erika, I need to just up my standards. I need to up my game. I need to turn up the temperature. I need to embody the person that weighs the amount that I want to weigh. Okay? Or has the physique I want to have. And again, we literally just in episode 21 talk about body image. So it's not that I hate my body image. I just know I can do more. You know what I mean? I have a higher standard for my life that I'm looking to hit. And so I'm realizing, okay, Erika, what are the standards of the person that weighs that amount? Okay, well, they definitely work out every day or they move their body in some way every day. They are definitely getting like 8 hours of sleep a night or whatever, 7 hours of sleep a night. I'm someone that I struggle with sleep. I do. I can't sleep in. So if I don't go to bed early enough, like I will wake up. But lately I've been sleeping more. I've been sleeping more like 6.5 hours, which sounds like not that much, but I'm someone that literally like I can run on like 4 to 5 hours and that's not healthy. So I've been trying to up my sleep, right? So understanding your why. So why do I want to be at a certain weight, you could say, or be at a certain physique? Because I've been in a similar state before and I felt really fucking good. I want to feel very good in my skin. I want to feel comfortable, confident. Right now, I'm not as confident as I could be. I'm not as comfortable in my own skin as I have been in the past, and I'm upset with myself about that, so I'm doing something about it, right? So I'm setting a new standard. Or with my coaching business, Like, why am I building a coaching business? What is my why? Because I want to help people, because I love helping others, because I've been able to work through so many things in my life. I want to pay it forward. People have told me that they find me inspirational or motivating, and I'm like, well, how can I inspire you to be your best? How can I help guide you to live a life that is in alignment, right? So that's my why with my podcast. And there's a lot of with coaching. There's a lot of other reasons. But again, with the podcast, I want to help you guys grow into the best version of yourself. Okay, so first, you need to understand, why are you trying to reach this goal? Why are you setting these standards? And then you need to break down a higher standard into more detailed and achievable steps. So like with SMART goals, right? Like, you need to break it down. Break down your big goals into smaller goals. Or, they talk about this in like network marketing a lot. If you have like a position you're trying to reach, okay, what do you need to reach that position? Break it down. What's it going to take you to get there? So let's say I'm someone that wants to run a 5K. Okay, and like again in episode 21, I just talked about how my whole life I've been told I'm not a runner. So if I want to run a 5K, how can I break that down? So a 5K is what, 3.14 miles or something like that? I don't know. It's over 3 miles, just over 3, under 4 miles. So first, I probably should walk that amount, if not every day, multiple times a week. Let's say I need to walk 3 miles a day, or 3 miles 5 times a week. Okay, first step, do that week 1. Okay, week 2, I need to walk for, let's say, 2 minutes, run a minute. Run for a minute, walk for 2 minutes for that total of 3 miles. Okay, now the next week, actually, we're going to run for 2 minutes and walk for a minute. So now we're running double the time. Okay, now how about we run for the first mile and then do a run walk after that? Okay, the next week. Okay, now we run the first 2 miles and then we run walk after that. Okay, now we run for 3 miles and then we run walk the last little bit. And eventually, if you break it down into smaller goals, you will get to that higher standard, right? So just like maybe you are one of our neighbors, she is a car salesman, right? Okay, so how is she starting her car salesman career? She is first starting by selling 1 car. She has to talk to X amount of people a month, right? First, you got to have the conversation, and then you got to know the product, and you got to make sure that you're doing all the things to break down to get to your higher standard, right? To get to your sale. So you need to make sure that, so if I'm trying to run 3 miles, I need to make sure that I'm making a training plan to run those 3 miles, but also probably a dietary plan as well. I need to make sure I'm feeling well. I need to make sure I'm well rested enough. So just like this is where the 75 hard is great. If your goal is to have peak performance, what I like about the 75 hard is it's giving you a list of standards. It's breaking it down. If you do these X amount of things a day, you will fucking be successful. And I mean, Andy Frisella must be doing something right because he's fucking successful. Okay? Third thing is be honest with yourself. Okay? If you're going to take on a goal, if you're going to take on a standard, like, yes, know your why, but also don't let your ego run the show, right? Make sure you're starting at a place that makes sense for you because you want to make sure that you can achieve it. Now, that doesn't mean don't give yourself growth potential, but if I'm someone that's never ran, or I don't run, I haven't run in years, like let's just say that's the case. If I haven't run in fucking 5 years, okay, I'm not going to go run 5 miles tomorrow. I need to work my way up. So again, be honest with yourself. I need to know my fitness level. Now, you need to also be able to get help in areas where you're weak. So this can be finding a workout buddy. So like my friend Gianna, she's a runner, right? The girl that was just on the podcast with me. She's a runner. She's probably someone that could guide me into learning how to run a 5K, right? Or again, the 75 hard. Andy is guiding you. He's giving you the steps he's used to help himself. Or have a business mentor, enlist a friend, maybe do a workout program with a buddy. You want to make sure that you're getting help in the areas where you're weak because we all have our strengths and our weaknesses, but you don't have to use your weaknesses as an excuse. Get the help you need. Okay, so then use technology to set and maintain your new standards. So technology can be very, very helpful. So one thing I do is I use the Habit app. I love the Habit app. I have inputted all these habits that I want to do every single day, and I will mark it off every time that I'm done. That's one thing I loved about the 75 Hard app was I felt so like I achieved something at the end of the day when I looked and everything was completed on the 75 Hard app. I was like, damn, I'm crushing it, right? So your brain will rise to the occasion. You just need to be thinking about, you are watching the person you want to be. Think of it as you 2.0 is what he talks about, right? So the next is give dedicated thought to the relationship between your goal and your standard. So when your standard does not match what's required to meet your goal, you won't be properly motivated. Where if you set your standards beneath your capabilities, you won't feel challenged and you'll lose interest. So low standards produce low results, so why bother? So think about the relationship. What is the relationship between your goal and your standard? So like I said, me upping my running pace or upping my mileage is going to help me reach my goal. So you want to be giving it some thought on why you're doing it and make sure that it makes sense, right? And we have 3 more, guys. So number 7 is forget perfection. Okay, no one is fucking perfect. That's just the way it is. Even Andy Frisella, who I look up to, great dude, not fucking perfect, right? So if you are someone that's like, I need to be perfect, you are going to be more likely to fail. You need to be able to roll with the punches, right? Perfection is boring. Perfection is honestly like almost pretty much no one is perfect, and it's not very relatable, right? So remember, you do not need to be perfect, but you need to be striving for your higher standard. The last 2, so the number 8 is do not overthink it. So you want to be diligent, you want to be thorough, you want to be intentional with your standard, but you do not need to overthink it. You do not. If I want to reach a weight loss goal, okay, what are the areas? Sleep, rest, same thing. Nutrition, exercise, diet. Bing, bang, boom. Set standards in those areas. I don't need to do a million fucking things. And I think, actually, mini rant, I've seen this a lot on like social media, how, oh, all these new workouts, all these new exercises. At the end of the day, guys, your workout routine does not need to be super fancy, because the basic shit is what works. Squatting, deadlifting, bench press, push-ups, pull-ups. Like, you don't need some fancy thing where you're balancing on a BOSU and you're using one leg and you're just, putting yourself in danger. Like all these fancy movements. No, the fucking core basic movements are what work. You don't have to get fancy with it. Do not overthink it. If you want to read 24 books in a year, all right, that means 2 books a month. So how many pages a day do you need to read to achieve that? Or how much time do you need to spend a day reading to achieve that goal? You don't need to overthink it. Keep it simple. And then at the last one is set standards to please yourself. All of this, reaching your goals, your standards, we're not doing this for other people. We're doing it for ourselves. Be fucking selfish with it. You are allowed to be selfish with it, because it is your journey. It is no one else's journey. And you have to be the one that hits your standards. You are responsible for rising to your standards. So don't fucking think about what other people are doing. Put your blinders on, focus on yourself, stay in your fucking lane, right? We do not give a fuck what other people's standards are. We do not give a fuck what they think about our standards. We do not care. If I want to do something and, it's not harming anyone, it's good for me, it's helping me, and maybe it's not Kyle's thing, no offense, I don't really give a shit. It's fine, because it's my life. It's my standards that I'm setting for myself, right? Just like if he wants to do something, if he wants to set new standards, if he wants to read, I don't know, a book a month, and he's going to set the time to read that book a month, okay, cool, do you. I support you. But even if I didn't support it for whatever reason, which would be silly, but let's just say it, it doesn't matter. It's his goal. It's his standard, right? So we need to be mindful of, you can share your goals and your standards with people, but do not change your goals and your standards based on other people. You want to make sure you're doing it for you, because also you will be more successful if you're doing it for yourself. You don't want to base it all on other people, and that doesn't mean you can't have external motivation, but at the end of the day, the internal motivation is key. If you're not internally motivated, you are much more likely to fail, right? And remember that raising your standards, it's an ongoing thing. So you should review your goals and your higher standards regularly, and when you've mastered a standard or your goal, it's time to move up. It's time to expand them, to grow them, to redo them, right? So remember, it's unhealthy to compare yourself and your standards to others. Like I was just saying, stay in your lane. We don't give a shit what other people are doing. We only care about what we're doing, right? I mean, that sounds a little selfish, but you know what I mean. It is human nature to compare, but don't give in, okay? Your standards are about you. And so what he says is, when one more thinkers set a higher standard, you'll experience consequences, good or bad. There is some duality. So some duality with that, he talks about, this is just a little note. I love duality, the concept of duality, because at the end of the day, so in my moon magic practice, like when you set an intention, typically it's kind of like a form of a manifestation, right? And my coach goes, okay, what's the duality of this? If you achieve this goal you're looking to set, or if your intention came true, what's the duality? So what's the good, but also what's the bad? So here's an example, right? If my goal is to grow this podcast, to have way more listeners every single week. So on one hand, I could be making a larger impact, right? Because I'd be reaching more people. So the duality of that would be, I'm also opening myself up to more criticism. More people could be criticizing me or judging me or saying potentially negative comments, right? Now, I haven't had that yet. I've only had great feedback, and I'm so thankful for all of y'all. But that's my point. There's always a duality. There's a good and bad. Or say I'm on my weight loss journey and I'm looking good, I'm killing it, I'm crushing it. Someone might get jealous or someone might say something negative. That's the duality. Because when you are raising your standards, not everyone's going to be happy about it. Unfortunately, that's just kind of life. So some people in your circle may become jealous because of your discipline and success. So remember, I'm going to leave you with this. This is a quote from his book. So sorry if I've been looking down if you're looking at the recording, because this book is so great and he has so many highlighted sections I wanted to make sure I share with you guys. Even if you don't fully succeed, you'll still fail at a higher level and land at a higher baseline. So kind of like shoot for the moon and you'll land in the stars, right? At the end of the day, sure, I have a weight loss goal. And it'd be cool to hit that weight, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to hit that weight. Again, like I said in episode 21, like I have goals, but like there are certain things where I'm like, I don't know, is that even achievable? I don't know. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to know if I don't try. So if I'm doing all the things to reach my fitness goal, even if I don't hit the number on the scale or the body composition that I want, I'm still going to be better off than where I am right now because I have been working for it, right? Typically. That's typically how it works. So I really love this concept because at the end of the day, your goals and your standards are so linked. And I think a lot of times when we talk about in manifestation journeys, how, oh, you just got to embody it. Like if you're like me, you're like, what the fuck does that even mean? What do you mean I just got to embody it? And this is, in my opinion, this is it. You have to set a standard for your life. And when you create these new standards, that is you embodying the person you want to be. And that embodiment is going to help you reach your goal, right? So like manifestation is not just sitting around twiddling your thumbs, meditating, and all of a sudden everything you want magically appears. Like, no, you need to take action steps. You need to raise your standards, raise your vibration. That is how you're going to get where you want to be in life. So The Power of One More, The Ultimate Guide to Happiness and Success by Ed Mylett is the book that I referenced in today's episode. It's incredible. It's amazing. 10 out of 10. Recommend that you check it out if you haven't. I absolutely loved it. Thank you all for listening today. I hope that you guys take this podcast episode and think, what areas of my life do I want to raise my standards? What area of my life? How can I do that? How can I achieve that? And go and fucking get it. Get after it. I believe in you. I know that you can do it, but you need to know that you can do it. All right, y'all. I will talk to you later. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and do not forget to stay empowered. Thank you so much for listening today. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you for taking the time to be a part of our community. Don't forget to check the show notes for the resources I shared in today's episode, and of course to connect with me on social. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at erika.vishkalis. You can also find me on Facebook at Erika Vishkalis. If you want to be a part of our online community, check out our Facebook group, Empowered with Erika. You can also find all of our offers and community links at empoweredwitherika.com. I always love hearing from you, so don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe, and tag me with your biggest takeaways from today's episode. Let me know what you loved and what you want to hear more about, and share it with someone who you think would love it too. I cannot wait to share more with you. I will see you next week, and don't forget to stay empowered.